What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course. I got another wild stream for you. Pretty crazy, the circumstances that we're going to be talking about today. Search and Rescue with Kevin, W6RIP. You probably see his videos before. He's a prolific SOTA operator. Does a lot of great videos on the YouTubes here, as well as awesome photography. Probably one of my favorite things about his videos. Links are in the description to check out Kevin, and absolutely do check him out. But he's going to answer some questions with regards to SAR, Search and Rescue, and how he thinks maybe those two things, ham radio and SAR, work together. Right on. Well, let me switch over here really quick and go through a couple of my news items. Thanks again. Thanks so much for joining us out on the Ham Radio Crash Course. Our goal is to create an inclusive type of space where people can ask questions, get involved with amateur radio, find the help they're looking for. There's more than just me out there, but a lot of people on the YouTube making content trying to help people get involved in ham radio. We obviously have our Facebook page and our Discord, which you can find the links in the description. The Discord is where we do our after chat, which will follow right after the live stream you're watching, which generally goes for about an hour. Again, pretty crazy story about what got us to where we are at right now, starting the show. Kevin is with me here. We'll have him on in a second. I just got to mention a couple of things, and then we'll flip over to him. So, oh, that's not the one I want. Why did it do that? Oh, of course. You change something and then it totally goes foobar on you. So let me change this guy. You can see how many people are watching right now though, which is fun. You set this up and then you have to reset and then it just totally screws everything up. But I've got some news items. Let me throw those up. There we go. Got to hit the new shirt of the week for Ham Tactical. Leia made a new one, QRP Heroes Low Power Maximum Effort t-shirts. That was actually a recommendation that she got at leia@hamtactical.com. If you want to send her a t-shirt idea, she'll try and make it happen. This one being the example that was submitted by Tango Oscar Mike 73 out here on YouTube. He submitted that to her, and so it got made. So you can check that out at hamtactical.com, QRP Heroes, Low Power Maximum Effort. I think that's fantastic. Also, we changed up the website a little bit. So the Ham Radio Gear now, if you go to Ham Radio Gear, it kind of co-locates a lot of the things that I've done reviews on. So if you're interested in that, you can go to one place for both the merch and for different radios that are out there in radio land. So check that out. Link is in the description. All right, so this week we've got a couple of events going on. The big one is the Hawaiian QSO party. The QSO parties are always a fun contest. If you're interested in getting into contesting, it's usually a good place to start. So just take advantage of that. Go ahead and look up Hawaii QSO party, which runs to August 24th at 400 Zulu time. So keep that in mind. I know his time is important, so I'm going to flip right over to Kevin here, and we're going to bring him in. Kevin, how you doing? You've had a day.
Hey, doing well, yeah. And it's going real smooth until I'm on the Highway 38 about probably 10, 15 minutes from home, and yeah, head-on collision. I was about 5 cars back, so I just jumped out, and I was the first one on scene. And good thing the guy was pinned behind the firewall and the dashboard. There's really nothing I could do. Immediately called for help, and guys were here quick. I had my search and rescue team members coming down too behind me. About probably 5 minutes behind me was our doctor. He was able to get in there and assess him a little bit, but there's really nothing that we could do while we're here. But everyone got here that needed to. There's tons of fire, guys here. They had to extract them. They got all their heavy equipment and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty bad right now. There's a horse trailer sitting off the side of the road. But yeah, so. But can you? I'm glad I'm here, and everyone's fine. There's only one person that got hurt, and he's already on the way to the hospital.
Would you mind flipping the camera and showing what you showed me? Can you? So it's literally right in front of you. It all happened right there.
Yeah. So I just like I said, I was that far back, but I'm wearing my stuff, so I just went on opposite traffic, opposite side, and got up here and. Yeah, the first thing I was doing before I even got up here, I was calling 911. Saw the steam and the smoke, and I was able to tell them how bad it was and tell them what they needed to bring.
That is wild. Yeah, I got the message from you literally a couple of minutes before getting started, and it was like Yeah, I mean, it's good that you were there. You're able to call it in, although, you know, that's kind of what happens, right?
I know I got out of training right on time to get home and have a nice stream, and yep, here we are.
So
What
I'll
happens.
ask you, you know, this is not part of the questions I was going to ask, but since you were kind of like Johnny on the spot, it just happened to happen right in front of you. Like, are you you have any kind of medical training in search and rescue that you might have been able to help out? I know you said you had the doctor, but what do you think?
Yeah, I am for this kind of stuff. Even with the doc, the guy was pinned. I made sure he was conscious. I made sure there wasn't excessive bleeding because I have my first aid kit and my trauma kit, all that stuff. We couldn't even get down to his legs where he was at. He was the dashboard was on his torso,
Wow.
right at his belly, and we couldn't even get to his legs. So Doc got here. He had one arm broken, but he was yelling for help. He was coherent. He wasn't losing consciousness. That those all good signs, but he said he couldn't feel his legs. Obviously, they could be completely crushed because looking at the truck, it is just bad. But to that point, just making sure that he was okay. Everybody, take care. Sorry, guys. You got teammates getting ready to head out here.
Oh no, yeah, I understand. Thanks again for hopping on. This is crazy.
Oh yeah, it's fine. I mean, literally, I'm all trapped in among all the fire trucks, and so let's do it. But yeah, there's really nothing that I personally could have done for him other than just try to keep him comfortable.
Wow.
Wait for the heavy machinery to get here.
That is pretty intense. I mean, they had to basically cut him out of this
yeah,
car, right?
They had to pry out they had to pry the well, first the top of the top of the truck is gone.
They had to cut that off.
The whole side of the truck was gone. They had to pry it all apart and pull them out. So it was it's pretty gnarly. But
did that shut down the freeway totally?
Oh yeah, Highway 38 is a complete shutdown right now. There's probably a couple miles of traffic both ways.
Wow.
Trying to get up and down. We're not far from the Mill Creek Ranger Station.
Mm-hmm.
So
wow.
It's a busy Saturday too.
That's nuts. Yeah, 38 gets packed on a weekend, so I can only imagine what it's like right now.
It really does.
Well, okay. Again, thanks for hopping on right in the middle of this chaos. That's awesome. I mean, thank you for doing that, and it's good you were there. You were talking about your training that you did today. Why don't you kind of, I guess, start from the beginning and kind of let people know what volunteer search and rescue is, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay, so volunteer search and rescue is exactly what it is. You have to, there's certain qualifications that they look at, and whether you're a good fit for the team, make sure you're 100% committed. They want people coming into the team just learning skills and bouncing. Sure. I moved to Yucaipa from Orange County, and this is a story about how this was not an accident. So bear with me. So I moved out to Yucaipa. A week later, I had somebody come out I looked on Yelp and had somebody come out and clean my windows because I didn't want to get up second story, outside windows, all that stuff. So had somebody come out and clean my windows, and he's cleaning my windows, and he noticed all my camping gear, hiking gear, ham radio antenna, all this stuff. So he gets really curious, and he's like, well, what do you do? And then I talked to him. I told him I do SOTA. I'm into backpacking, hiking, mountaineering, just getting outdoors. And he saw all my stuff, and he goes, well, I hire for the search and rescue team. And I was just like, what? I go, no way. I go, I would love to do something like that. I've always wanted to do something like that. And this happened a week after I moved out here. So it all happened like it was supposed to. So they quickly streamlined me in to get into mentor training and get all the skills I needed to get to basic search and rescue training, to get certified to be field deployable. Mm-hmm. And from there, just doing ropes. And, today was another training. I was actually this year, I got hired on last year. This year, I'm helping train the new guys that are coming in this year. So,
well, then I guess.
Yeah, things are good.
No, go ahead. Sorry, I was cutting you off too early.
That's okay. I don't know if I went off your question, but I just thought I'd throw that out there.
No, I was gonna say, kind of diving in a bit into that. Like, what does, I guess, is wilderness search and rescue? What does that entail? You mentioned ropes. Like, what is that? What does that all ultimately end up you doing to help save somebody's life, basically?
Okay, so most of the time it's overdue hikers. We have to be certified in being in the wilderness. We have to be certified in, there's a lot of steep terrain out here. So my team, the San Gorgonio Search and Rescue Team, is a rope team in the county of San Bernardino. We're considered a rope team. Lots of steep terrain. A lot of overdue hikers go the wrong way down the trail. And when that happens, people call in. Sheriff sends us a text message for a call out, and then we assemble. And we send out a hasty team. We try to get as much detail as we can, as coordinates and whatnot. But being on the rescue, we got to be ready to go. At a moment's notice. We get those calls. Sometimes most of the calls are literally, when you think of an overdue hiker, you're literally. Hold on, I might have to move my truck. I'm gonna back up. Okay, I'm gonna back up real quick.
I gotta secure the trailer.
Yeah, for sure. They're gonna. No, it's okay. I can do this. I'm skilled. So
take your time. It's fine. We got plenty of time.
I gotta wait for the sheriff vehicle behind me to back up. But yeah, be field deployable. 90. I'd say 99% of these call outs are right when you're getting ready to go to bed.
Oh, I bet.
Sure. Sometimes you got to work the next day. And one of my worst times was back, literally, I was out on search and I had to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
My job can't just.
Yeah, because it is a volunteer setup, so you still have a job, you work, so you do this as your off time is where you devote to this volunteer system.
Yeah.
Well, while he's moving his truck, I'll mention I'm pouring out a beer, drinking a little Einstock Icelandic white ale.
Okay. All right, so they're gonna move their fire trucks. So I'm gonna be able to zip through here right now. Yeah, so it's all I'm able to, in my position at Stater Brothers. I can write my own schedule as a manager. I plan my Saturdays, my third Saturday off. I plan all my times that I need to do for training. But sometimes, and I can't just take the day off of work the next day. I got to be at work, so sometimes you're super tired going into work. But
yeah.
It's been a kind of a quiet year, so it's been nice. But we just try every couple times a month. We're trying to just better ourselves, just for different situations.
Now the ropes part of it, again, I'll dive in a little bit. Because of the steep terrain, you said you're going to have to use ropes. So I'm assuming that's like where you may have to use ropes to get down to a hiker who's maybe fallen into a ravine or something like that. How do ropes? Is it a climbing up and down, or what is it?
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Josh.
No problem.
Okay. Yeah, no, there's at least there was one last year that we had to hike up the side of a mountain. I was not rope certified at that time, so I had to lay back, but 4 guys that were hiked up at, I think it was like 1 a.m, hiked up the side of a mountain by Big Falls, and they had their rope gear. Some guys, people think they can just go down, and they get to a point where they can't go up or down, and they get stuck.
Yeah.
So luckily we haven't had to deal with anybody actually falling and doing that stuff, but we are first responders to this wilderness, this mountain area. We are the first responders to this area.
Mm-hmm.
So having the ropes and being skilled in the ropes is very key to being on this team.
I mean, it sounds like it. Yeah, in the case of super steep terrain, yeah, people fall, or like you said, they climb up and get stuck. That makes sense. I got a super chat from Eli Jones, said, stunning for technician exam and ordered my first radio. Thanks for all the info you have provided to get me this far. Very good. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. So what kind of gear do you drag out when you go and do your search and rescue training, or maybe when you're just going outdoors?
So we have what we call a 24-hour pack that has basic, food, shelter, first aid, enough stuff to help a subject, keep them comfortable, or have, the medical equipment to have to hike them out. The hasty. So the 24-hour pack. Sorry, I got to put on my seatbelt or my thing's gonna be dinging.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry. Okay. So 24-hour pack weighs anywhere between 25 to, some guys have all their rope gear in it too, and it's getting up there about 60 pounds of what they're hiking with. So depending on what you are, the hasty team has a lighter pack. They don't have all the gear necessary. They're just trying to get there. Mm-hmm. But a normal 24-hour pack has everything that we're going to need to, do intermediate stuff to help the subject, and be ready to. Sometimes some searches go longer than that. You're stuck out there for a long time. So.
Yeah, I mean, so you got to bring food and water. You're hiking all that stuff in with you, right?
Yep, all our water. I mean, learning the terrain and knowing the areas is really critical to knowing where water resupply is. But we're always trying to hike in with more water than we need, because what if that subject needs water? What if that
Yeah.
subject needs food?
Water's heavy. That's that's always the biggest thing I think of, particularly down here in Southern California. We don't really have a lot of water options like out on the trail, so you're usually
No, it's
hiking
rare.
in. Yeah, it's just desert.
Yeah, so I mean, you're easily keeping about 3 liters on you at a minimum, and
Minimum, yeah.
yeah. So
Glendon, thanks you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Crazy little samurai cat thing. That's pretty funny. Okay, so you go out there. You mentioned you take your time once a month about to do training. What kind of training would someone expect to deal with if they were thinking about getting into search and rescue?
hiking, obviously being fit, being in shape, a lot of land navigation, learning how to use map and compass, inside and out. Um, wilderness survival, building fires from scratch. Um, and all these skills, are taught. You don't need to come on the team and do that, but we teach all those skills. And there's stuff that I didn't know, that I know now. It's pretty awesome. But basically just that. Basically just, wilderness survival and being in shape and, being able to take care of yourself and someone else.
Right on. Were you in Boy Scouts? I mean, now Scouts, but at the time, Boy Scouts at any time?
No, fortunately not. I wish I kind of would have, because I'd been way ahead of the game. I think that's something that parents should definitely do, because learning knots and learning all those little skills, you just put you way ahead of the game. But no, I never did that. Never had a really outdoor background growing up. Just all kind of self-taught, just by learning it and going out and doing it and applying it, and and good friends that teach you. So yeah.
I was curious because it sounds a lot of that. Obviously, what you're doing is more complex than what the Scouts do, but very similar to kind of what I did growing up in the Scouts and whatnot. So yeah. Now, if somebody wanted to get interested or get started in search and rescue, you kind of had a fortuitous event happen that led you down the path. I'm assuming it may change depending on where you live, but how would one look into getting started with it?
Okay, so I would say start looking at the Facebook pages. All the search and rescue teams have Facebook pages. They have websites. They tell you when they're going to hire, when they're going to start mentor training, and they have their criteria. For us, you have to go to 3 meetings in a row, so it's 3 monthly meetings in a row, and then you go through the background process, interview process, and then they interview you, and if they feel like you're a good fit, they'll hire you. And once they hire you, then you start your mentor training, learning what you need to. I know all the, San Bernardino County, we have about 20 or 30 teams, because we're such a huge county, the largest county in the United States. So a lot of different teams do different things, different specialties, but looking up their website, looking up their Facebook page, reaching out for information, and and following the steps, because a lot of teams only hire once a year. They have this whole system that they do. So that would be the way to go about doing it in your local area. Lots of good teams out here too in the West Valley, all the San Gabriel area, the Azusa, Sierra Madre. There's a lot of good teams out here, even in LA.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned, obviously, we keep saying the word volunteer. I'm assuming there is, maybe some gear they help you out with, or do they pay you in certain extreme cases? How does that all work?
It's you pretty much do it all yourself.
100%?
There's a couple, pretty much.
Wow.
When you get into your rope stuff, they'll give you a brake rack for rappelling. But my pack, they'll give you a first aid kit. You get that. But all your gear that you wear, your uniform, your shoes, your pack, if you buy a call-out rope, your carabiners, your harness, everything I paid out of pocket, and I think there's very much you can do with getting a tax deductible on that or anything like that. So it's pretty much, yeah. I probably put about a good $1,000 into gear out of my pocket.
And Going back to that a bit, you said that they maybe cover you on a first aid kit, and then you're rappelling. What was it? Rappelling rack? Was that what you said?
It's called a brake rack.
Brake rack.
That's what the county. That's what the county wants to issues you. You have to use their kind of like there's certified equipment for different things. Like there's a lot of different things you can use for climbing, but you got to make sure it's county certified.
Wow.
And that calls for it. And so there's some things that we'll get. We'll check it out, and if you leave the team, you check it back in.
Okay.
But and then all our rope, like a lot of like the ropes and a lot of the different anchor building equipment, all that stuff's in the trucks, in the vehicles. So there's a thing we have called an edge kit. We have edge kits there that if you're working on the edge of a cliff, part of a rope team system, they have those, or you can build your own. A lot of stuff you can probably get and borrow it out, like snowshoes you can borrow out, ice axes you can borrow out. There's a lot of different things you can borrow out, but some stuff you just kind of want your own.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the means and you want your own stuff and you're going to use it personally to go train on your own or with some friends, then that's why you just buy your own. But yeah.
Very cool. Before I turn this completely into a ham radio topic almost, I wanted to ask you, aside from maybe today, what's maybe one of your most interesting stories of something that you got called to support or were involved in?
We had a really kind of interesting call of a overdue hiker earlier this year, right before all the COVID stuff. And there's a guy that went up to Sanji, and he came down the wrong way. He just took a wrong turn at a little fork, and it's happened before. It's a known thing. We try to put signs everywhere, but if it's dark and someone's hiking down looking at their phone, they're not paying attention to the signs, they go the wrong way. But so there was a fun one on that. I was actually going to be on the hasty team to go up, and at the last minute they said there was so much ice and snow in the area where we were going to be hiking. They're hearing this trailer report from people coming down that they changed it. You had to be Alpine Awareness certified to do that. So I'm not that yet. So they didn't let me go on that, and that ended up being a 19-hour rescue mission.
Oh,
and
wow.
they were the three men. It was the 2 females and 1 man. They were able to get to the subject by 6 a.m. We started at 8 at night. That's how far back he was.
Whoa.
But the guy was actually skilled. He was a good climber, and he was able to get up high enough to use his cell phone to give coordinates. Like he had a Garmin device. He was checking in with his wife every 30 minutes, and all of a sudden there was no more check-ins. So his wife called the sheriff's department, said he's missing, and they issued the call out and everything. So, but this guy was such a strong climber, he was able to go up the mountain to a point where he could get service into Palm Springs, because he was back on that side of the mountain, to get service to call. And then from there, we were able to tell him how to use his compass and his phone and get GPS coordinates. And then he gave he started describing some things that he knew in the area, and that he was as he was describing what his surroundings. A couple guys on the team are familiar with that mountain, so they were able to kind of pinpoint right where he was at, and then guide the hasty team in via radio to tell him, give him coordinates where to go. But so that was such a long hike. We had to. There's all the guys. We had to load up the Jeep, get the side-by-side, get everything in, come with a plan to go through a mountain road that is very not traveled very often, and we're able to come in a backside through a conservancy area, and anyways call them in with an extraction point just by knowing the trails in the mountain. And that was fun. That was a good time, and being part of the extraction of that rescue mission was really neat.
That is pretty intense. And you said it was winter, right? Because you said alpine. So was it?
Yeah. So it was. I think it was in February.
Oh,
and,
wow.
There's still a lot of mountain on that mountain. A lot of snow on that mountain in that area, in those areas. So it's still winter time. But when they said there's gonna be snow and ice and all this other stuff, the county doesn't want to send out anybody unless they know you're gonna be 100% safe. And I have some background in that stuff, but I'm not like certified. I don't have the certificate in my file.
Right.
To do that. So. It was just a judgment call of the sheriff.
You need to get some kind of stamp on your piece of paper that says you're certified to get cold, right? You're willing to get cold.
Yeah.
cold ropes and be, and have the skill to get through that. The terrain is treacherous, especially when it's icy.
Did you say stretchers? Because you got to drag people out too, right? In some cases.
No. Well, I said it's treacherous.
Oh, treacherous. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But we do have litters. We have a wheeled litter with a, the litter is the big titanium metal basket that we could hike in. We have a steel one that's used for high angle stuff. The one we hike in, the titanium one, we just got a new one where there's a big old, like, kind of fat mountain bike wheel on the bottom. So you can wheel it up like a wheelbarrow, kind of thing. That helps a lot on those trails. But yeah, a lot of equipment, a lot of learning how to, one thing we focus on when we take it out and we use it, and we got to put it back rescue ready. So that's the thing. At the end of the day, at the training day, people kind of just throw things in bags and do this. So today was one of those days where we're really focusing on putting everything back exactly right. We don't know if we're going to get a call out on the way home. Mm-hmm. So we got to be rescue ready.
Right.
So that's what we make sure that we do, especially at the end of every training.
It's kind of like putting coax away, right? You're always at the end of the day, you got to put your coax away the right way. Right. Otherwise, you just totally jacked up for the next time you activate.
You're screwed.
That's right. So
that is completely true.
Kevin and I did. Kevin he's been doing it now. This is the second year. A SOTA discussion on the Keller Peak repeater, and he asked me to hop on kind of to talk at the end about SOTA activations and whatnot. Kevin's obviously very experienced in Summits on the Air, but during that talk, which I will be posting a video for that talk, hopefully this week or the next week, he mentioned, always have a ham radio on you when you go out in the field, regardless of what it is. And I think you even said, even if you don't have a license. Has there been situations where, and kind of the example you just gave where the guy had to climb up just to get a cell phone signal, where you go out, when you're out doing what you're doing, training and helping people, where you're dead signal and the only way you're going to get out is with like a ham radio or probably a Garmin InReach or something like that?
No, there's a perfect example from KM6TWI. He was able to call, he was getting in the ham radio, but he wasn't licensed, going up Mount Baden Powell.
Yep. Got
up there and it turned into an ice sheet, completely unaware of what the north face is on that mountain. And he had his ham radio with him, not ready to use it, but he had it. And he hikes a lot of stuff, but he was able to get into the wind system and tell him what happened. And I think there's a guy that was monitoring the wind system. I think he lived right there in Wrightwood, and was able to call for help. And they called in a helicopter. He was extracted, but the wind system completely shut down for his traffic, the rescue traffic, to make sure that he was, to communicate with him. There wasn't a peep on there. So, having it in a bona fide emergency, you can use it. It's okay. I mean, it'll save your life, and that's what we want.
Right.
So it's just super important to have. I have a video where I put out the three communications that I always say keep on you. There's a reason I say those, but I mean, you just never know which one of those three you're going to need.
Is there a certain way you have your radio programmed for working out in the field, or when you go in the field?
No. Sorry. I have my radio for, you mean when we go in search and rescue training?
No, just in general. Yeah, just in general. Okay. Like, how do you have your radio programmed in such a way that you feel that you're going to be confident in your ability to get out?
Okay, so when I'm hiking and I'm out and about, I got my FT2D and I'll run 520 on one, and then I have all my radios programmed for all the local mountains, all the Papa system repeaters, pretty much everything here in wherever I'm going to be, like Southern California. I have all these repeaters plugged in. So and knowing where those repeaters are is critical. But following Wilder's protocol on 520, and then if I needed to get out, I know which repeater to go to. One of the beautiful ones is like the Papa system. They let us use their system. They don't know membership, nothing like that. We're SOTA guys, so there's always, it seems like one of those repeaters you can get into, which is linked to everything, and it's a great system to have put away in your radio. But I just run it like that, and
Papa System has both. I know they're big into DMR, but they have FM analog, right? So repeaters as well.
Oh yeah, every one of the repeaters is almost every one of the repeaters is FM analog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then you can still go in through an X reflector on them, and get in that way if you wanted to.
Okay, very cool.
But yeah.
So now that you're kind of doing the, I guess this is kind of a ham radio question, but I was curious to go back to Search and Rescue for a second. What are the comms like with Search and Rescue? Do you have are there radios that are specifically for Search and Rescue that are also kind of VHF, UHF, or what do you guys use?
Okay, so we have two types. We run VHF on the 155 megahertz range, and we have our special frequencies that we run. Our radios are commercial radios, so they're using narrowband squelch, a tone and a tone squelch to get in and out. So that, a lot of privacy tones and stuff going on. So we have those little handhelds. We got a bunch of ICOMs that we have. Those are all commercial radios. So then we also we run 800 megahertz from the sheriff's department. So we have about 6 or 7 800 megahertz radios where we can contact, the sheriff and fire, everyone we need to through that. And that's all digital through repeaters. Our 155s also have, county repeaters plugged into them. Like today, where we're hiking, we're using the Onyx Peak repeater on our 155, and it's come through real good. There's Baldy, Heaps Peak. There's a lot of repeaters that we can plug in. We haven't been able to use them all from our area, but Onyx did really well today. But that's all narrowband. One thing that's awesome that I'll throw into ham radio with that is I reached out to Bob at HRO and I said, hey, I'm a ham radio operator. I want to be able to carry one radio and do search and rescue and have all my search and rescue frequencies and repeaters, and also have all my ham repeaters in it. I don't want to carry 2 radios.
Right.
So he started searching. I was searching. He started searching. He came up with the radio, and you did a video on it, and that's the Yaesu FTFX radio.
FTFX.
So I have it right here. So this little radio right here.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
That will do.
This radio is awesome.
Really?
So this radio has because you know how it's kind of competing with the Baofeng radios. That was Yaesu's version to come out. So
it is a Baofeng in a lot a ways. It's basically a Baofeng.
But it's got the Yaesu name on it, and it's got some legal stuff under the battery.
Yeah.
So, but the name looks more professional. The county doesn't like seeing Baofengs out there. They're not real ham radios. But the perception and all that. But those Baofengs all work the way we would love to and cover everything. So we were able to find this because only commercial radios will actually work our frequencies. The only commercial radios will do narrowband, tone, and tone squelch. A lot of the ham radios that we use, the FT2DR, all the other ham radios, will not receive narrowband tone squelch.
Yep.
So they might transmit narrowband, but they won't receive it. So we were able to find this radio, and he did a little Mars mod on it. They plug in a little code on it.
Yeah.
And he did all those, and he had 6 at the time, so I bought all 6. And
wow.
Got them programmed, and I got them out to the team. A couple guys. So then I give them to them. They Venmo me the money, and especially the ham radio guys on the team. We have about a handful of ham radio guys on the team. They're fascinated with ham radio, and I got another couple guys that are getting licensed very soon. One guy from another team that I met at BSAR, he just got licensed, and he loves your show, and he actually did within a week. He got his extra. So
wow,
I mean, he
that's
just
awesome.
zoomed right through it. I'm like, man, dude, you make me look bad. So,
that's
but that
awesome.
radio does it all, and from today during our training, being able to hit those search and rescue repeaters, those county repeaters, sealed the deal for me. Because I also did the Mars mod on my F2T, my 2DR.
Yeah.
But I could see my scale was full power or whatever, but I could not get voice.
Yeah, real
So
quick.
I know the repeater's gonna.
So people are asking in the chat. I wanna hit it again. The radio you're using is the FT4X, the Yaesu, and I did review that. So there's my video actually right there. I called it a Baofeng killer. It's not for some reasons, but it obviously is for others. It's an extremely inexpensive radio. It's $75, and you can do the Marsmon on it on a really easily. So it sounds like that's working for you. So that's great.
And the battery worked great. I mean, I put the diamond antenna on it. Worked awesome.
That's cool.
So, you know, that's another thing that we really look at is battery life. You know, we don't know how long we're gonna be out there.
Right.
You know, we'll turn it on, turn it off, whatever. But if we leave it on all day in a normal training scenario, that helps.
That's very cool.
So,
in the chat, Dawn, I think, bought a shirt. Thank you, Dawn. And then I think Leia mentioned that somebody sent a comment or an idea for a T-shirt. So we'll take a look at that. Thank you so much. So yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad, first of all, that FT4X is working for you. I personally like the size of it. I think that was my favorite part about it. It's smaller than a Baofeng, I think, when I did the comparison, but it's right around that same price. And it's got the drop-in charger that comes with it, which is also nice. So yeah, very cool.
If you lose it, you're not up much.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna open up the Zoom to take some questions. So if anybody, you got a question for Kevin, you can join us on this Zoom chat right now, and we'll add you onto the Zoom. But let's see, what else can we talk about? So you hit up the what radios are you using? That's super cool. I think it's also awesome that you've got a solution that's kind of in the ham radio space. Not exactly the legalist thing, but who cares when you're in that situation?
Yeah, but
right?
knowing how to apply both is a wealth of information, especially for the team. Because of my ham radio background, they nominated me to be the tech committee chairman. So that's what I am. So now I'm working with the Garmins that we're using, get them all linked up. So we have Garmins that we can link up to Sartopo, and it'll automatically show up on the map. But trying to put all that stuff together, communications is huge, absolutely huge. And my team in the past has had problems with communications. So one of the next things that we're going to be working on is getting a better antenna for the command post, and then teaching everybody the right techniques to obviously to get signal out. And then we're going to start working on building a portable repeater that we can take out if we're going to be out there for a certain time. We were talking about that last night on that chat.
Yeah.
About somebody's talking about their portable repeaters, so that's next on the list, because we got some mountains up here that don't have repeaters on them, and that would help tremendously if somebody just hiked it up and threw it up in the tree. So
yeah, we talked a while on that. We talked a while on how to build a portable repeater, which is not as easy as you think. Not something that you can put up there and have it last for a couple of hours and be hammered on. That's not something these little, shove two Baofengs together work very well in.
Right. Yeah. Ammo can.
No.
Yeah. No. I was looking at I was really looking at the Retrievus one that they have, and they reached out to me to do a product thing on one of their handhelds or whatever. I go, I'm more interested in the repeater, so send me that. And I didn't hear back from them.
No.
So I was like, all right, whatever.
We had two people.
I'm gonna talk. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we had two people try and join the chat, but then they dropped off. I don't know what happened. Yeah, you just gotta wait, and then I'll call on you. But anyway, keep going. Yeah. So yeah, the Retevis has a portable repeater, but I don't know anything about it. Have you actually seen it in use before?
There's a YouTube video out there on it. You can order it with frequencies programmed into it. I think it's about 10 watts. You can hook up battery power to it. So it's a nice little case. I think it weighs between 5 and 10 pounds. But it's a built little repeater, weatherproof. It runs about $3.99. So I'm gonna talk to the team and see if we can use the team funds to buy it for the team, and then get it all set up. That'll take more radio programming in our, among our personal radios, and also our commercial ICOMs that we have. But it would, it's just one more element of communications. There's, like I said, the terrain is super steep, and there's certain areas where we ain't gonna hit no repeaters. We had times where the terrain was so steep, there was a guy at the bottom of the mountain and a guy at the top of the mountain. They couldn't talk to each other. So they had to, and one of them didn't have the 800 radio that was, they could get into repeaters. So it's just, if they would have been some sort of repeater, that they could have talked to each other.
Right on. Well, it looks like we got somebody hopping on here, maybe. Its name is Dave. We'll wait for Dave's audio to connect, and then he can ask a question. I'm posting the link in the comments or in the live chat, so you can join us if you'd like to. Please wait in the waiting room until I add you. So, Dave, are you there? Can you hear us? We had some problems with the audio when we were setting up this chat. Oh, Dave's in. I can hear you, Dave. What's up?
Hey, good evening. I'm actually with Search and Rescue up here in Northern Ontario.
Oh, we got Search and Rescue Northern Ontario. Right on. That's Ontario, Canada, not Ontario, California, right?
That is correct.
Okay. The accent gave it away. So what's up? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, very good. Do you have a question for Kevin or anything? Or just a comment because you're also Search and Rescue?
Yeah, no, good.
Oh, you might have to mute the live stream, the video live stream, if you're talking to us on Zoom. It'll help a lot.
Yeah, I just did that.
Okay.
I found that glitch. But yeah, no, I just wanted to comment that I've been following along. It's great to hear somebody else with the same background and the same experiences, because it doesn't seem any different no matter where we are. We all kind of face the same thing. But I just want to say thank you for what he's been doing, and just to extend a friendly handshake from across the distance.
Well, thanks, Dave. Handshake
awesome.
accepted and passed back. Thank you.
Yeah, the
Appreciate it.
e-handshake. Very good. Thank you, Dave.
Virtual handshake. Thank you. Take care. 73.
I got a comment. What beer am I drinking? So I had the Einstock or Einschock. I don't know how to pronounce that. Icelandic white ale. Very light. That's what Ape said. That's looking a little light. It is light for me. And I've now gone to the Modern Times Fruitlands, which is a Gauss, which is a German kind of a sour-ish beer. Also not my favorite, but it's pretty refreshing on a warm day, and it's warm in the ham shack right now. So
That looks real good. I got some beers inside, but I'll get them later.
yeah, you're probably ready for that. So yeah, if anybody wants to hop on, ask a question, Dave, you're welcome to stay on. No big deal. If you have another question, feel free to jump in. I'll post the link again, and somebody, if they're willing, can hop right in and ask their question. Okay, so let's see. Anything you want to mention, Search and Rescue, that we haven't talked about yet, Kevin?
Yeah, well, one super important thing that that's not everyone knows about is the wilderness protocol.
Oh,
And
please,
when,
yeah.
People like to hike and get out in the woods, and a lot of people like to get in the woods to get away, and I get it, but you still got to be in touch. Something can easily go wrong. You got to at least have that idea of what's going to happen if something goes wrong, and how you're going to be able to reach out for help. So wilderness protocol, being able to, this goes into like just maybe the novice person that's kind of interested in ham radio, but you're not licensed. But even guys that go out there, like, carry a $30 Baofeng with you. But the thing is you're going to want to get licensed because you're going to want to learn how to use it.
Yep.
So huge deal. But if you can learn it a little bit to have it in case there is an emergency, you can reach out for help. There was a scenario a couple years ago in Ice House Canyon. There was a local two people, boyfriend, girlfriend, got lost, and they went off trail. They went down, and one of them slipped down, and the other one tried to go get her. The girl slipped down. The guy tried to go rescue her, and he got stuck down there. So they decided to keep hiking down. Well, it was a long way out that way, and they had to, treacherous terrain. They're trying to have to go down waterfalls, different areas. They're using their down jackets to rappel down, or as rope to get down certain areas. They finally got to a point where they were just stuck. But they were out there for 5 days, and people local around here will probably know what I'm talking about. But they're stuck out there for 5 days, and they were not far from the rescue team, but they were just out of sight, and they were somehow tucked in too, where the helicopters couldn't even find where they're at. They weren't able to make a fire he had a means to make fire, but he didn't make a fire until actually the helicopter found him 5 days later. They did good. They had some bars, they had their stuff, but they were not far from where the rescuers were. And finally, on like the 5th day, one of the rescuers saw some footsteps going in a certain direction. They followed that, and they were able to give an area for the helicopter to go search, because they were still not even able to see them. But if that person had a $30 Baofeng, like an area about wilderness protocol, they would have been able to reach up and call for help. and if there's any search and rescue guys that had the ham radio also listening on 5.2 or something, they could have been like, hey, we're right here.
Yeah.
You know, their rescue would have been 5 hours and not 5 days if they had that radio.
Yeah,
You know how to
indeed.
use it.
Before I jump to Jess's question or comment, I will mention, you've mentioned it on the net we did. I also live by it from being a Boy Scouts. Have a whistle in every one of your bags you go outdoors with. Have a whistle. Baofangs are great. Whistles are so important.
And a flashlight.
Oh, well,
Have
please,
a
yeah,
flashlight.
please
And
have
at
a
night-
flashlight.
Yeah, because if you take that flashlight and you point it up to the helicopter that's using infrared, it looks like a laser beam, like a lightsaber. They will find you.
Yep.
So have a flashlight. You know, your cell phone will not do. But if you have, I mean, that's key. Very key.
Right on. Jess joins us on the Zoom. Jess, do you have a question or comment? How you doing?
Good, how are you? I just had a question about APRS.
Oh, man, you are a hot mic. I hear you. You're making it. But maybe back off of the mic a little bit.
Sorry, I'm like 3 feet away from it right now.
Oh, wow. Okay. What is your question on APRS?
How reliable is APRS?
APRS is as reliable as your ability to get your signal to a digipeater or to someone that can relay your traffic. I have found that APRS is the most successful when you're using a mobile radio with at least 50 watts. I have been successful with APRS using a handy talkie, but that's generally on the summit using like the roll-up J-pole antenna. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, same thing. I'll have APRS running the whole hike, and I won't get any kind of register until I'm on the summit.
Yeah.
And it'll get out with your rubber duck, or your diamond, whatever antenna you got. It does help with the J-pole, but yeah, that's usually how it is out in the wilderness. It's and you're only putting out 5 watts, and you're competing, I think, with everyone else's 50 watts. So.
And everybody's
Okay.
on the same frequency,
Jammed up.
so you're getting knocked out,
Jammed up.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see. Oh, Robert's back. I think Robert tried to get in earlier. Hey, Robert, we'll wait for your audio to connect, and then we'll throw it to you. Make sure to mute your live stream.
Robert tried to get in.
Yep, there we go. Hey, Robert, how's it going?
Good about myself.
Very good. Do you have a question or comment?
Yeah, so it's kind of for both you guys, I suppose. So I have some family down in California, and I'm sure you're down there as well. And with all the fires and everything, I was trying to listen to some search and rescue fire guys using Echolink, just because I'm in Washington, up in Seattle myself. So I mean, is that a reliable source to try and get into repeaters down there? Or I mean, as far as listening from a distance, I mean, what would you recommend doing for that?
Echolink is a fine way to monitor. Keller has an Echolink that is used on the nets, like the one that Kevin and I were on. There are other repeaters that have Echolink enabled, and they can't get through just from all the local comm people jumping in. Kevin knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
they can't even try if they wanted to get through.
Nope.
But it's absolutely fine for monitoring. Now, if you wanted to monitor like the firefighters in their traffic, that's a whole different animal. I don't know that Echolink's going to pull that out.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to do a little bit of both. I mean, I assume with how much of a big fiasco it is, that at least some ham operators were probably talking about it or whatever. I was just trying to find out really any information that I could other than the news that tends to stick to their agenda, if you will.
I mean, there are scanner apps that you can download and use. I'm always kind of highly dubious of those because they can get shut off at any time. Your access to them could go away. It's generally pretty okay. Broadcastify, there's some people that will broadcast their scanner activity to Broadcastify, their local scanner activity, which works. But you just kind of got to be lucky enough to find the right people to listen to, and if it's a pop-in stream on Broadcastify, it'll generally go up the ranks, and then you might be able to see it. And firefighters fighting actual fires would probably be one of those, so just keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
Do you do anything, Kevin? Yeah, go for it.
So, well, we got called for evacuations, but that's another story. So, being down here, so you're not going to really be able to do much from up there, other than the scanner apps that Josh mentioned. When you're down here, you can look up radio reference and find the frequencies that they're on. A lot of times they're all VHF, and we were able to listen to the helicopters talking to airdrop planes and guiding them in to drop the water and the retardant. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that. Some stuff is digital, but other stuff's VHF. So you can look up those local frequencies on radar reference and monitor through that. I mean, but you got to be local.
I'm not sure that was completely a solution to your problem, but that's the way I see it.
That's the way it is sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I figured you have to be local to listen to the the VHF, UHF, whatever. But yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
Right on. Thanks for calling in. Yeah, right on. So what's your drive like now? Are you you're almost home, or you're?
Oh, I'm home. I'm sitting in the driveway.
Oh, well, thanks for sticking it out with me. I appreciate it.
I don't know. This is rad. I told you yesterday, I didn't know when training was going to finish. I didn't know what was going to happen. There's not much signal out there on the mountain. So I'm like, but we'll figure it out. Even if I got to move my phone around to a certain spot where I get 4G, we're going to try it.
Yeah. Actually, you look really good. Your video, I was more worried about the video than the audio. Audio is usually not a problem. But once I saw your video was clear, I'm like, oh man, we'll be able to do this no problem. And then you showed me the other flip side of your camera. You're right in front of the accident. You were right there.
Oh yeah, no, literally. I was the one to make sure no one else was gonna drive behind me. When I saw it, I went against traffic. I knew nothing was coming, so I went all the way up there, put on my flashers, kind of blocked everything off, and jumped out to see what was going on. And I was on the phone with 911, and they put me through the paramedics, and I could give them exact instructions on what they needed to bring and what to expect when they got there. So.
We got a fantastic question in the chat. Where is it? Dawn asks, is Kevin or Search and Rescue, are they using drones yet?
We are not. Our county has not authorized that yet. I'm reaching out, being head of the tech committee. I bought a drone. I'm starting to fly to the drone. I want to get that pilot license thing, but our county has not signed off on it yet.
Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting if you had FLIR on that thing. You'd be able to see, people pretty easily at night. Make it pretty easy that way.
There's a couple drones. There's one I have on our order, the Skydio 2. I have one of those on order, and this is out of my pocket. I want to get it, learn it, and teach people different things. But the Mavic 2 starts with an E. They have a nice rescue drone that they'll put up, and you can put a light on it or a speaker, so you can get up and you can see what's going on at night. You can communicate with the subject and do it that way. So there's autonomous drones, and there's fully piloted drones. There's some drones out there that they're using in different parts of the country and other countries that are just incredible.
Yeah.
The range on them and what they're capable of doing, the video. There's really good stuff, but us personally, no.
That's an interesting way that, it's a curiosity because people are worried about people using drones to surveil other people. But then in an instance of a search and rescue, I would absolutely want a drone in the air that I could, try and point at, shine my light at to get its attention, and all that goes into that. So, pretty interesting. Oh, very good. Let's see. A couple of other things. Anything else before I tap into more of my notes here? Anything we didn't hit, Kevin, you want to mention?
Just the three forms of communication when you go out in the wilderness is obviously we know ham radio and we know the Garmin, but also don't underestimate what your cell phone can do. A lot of people, through hikers and different people, they're not hiking to the peaks, so they don't, so they only know the cell phones and never have a signal because they're just on a trail.
Right.
But once you get to that summit, you have exposure to some city that's close by, and you can get a signal. So don't ever underestimate that. When I'm hiking, I always put my phone into airplane mode. My GPS works just fine without being in airplane mode, and conserves my battery a lot. So that's key. So and when you're on a summit, you obviously and you're trying to get a signal, go to the closest city area. Get close to those cell towers. And usually I've been able to notice that. You'll have you can move 2 steps to the right, and then all of a sudden you have 4G. You just got to kind of play with it, just like with the radio.
We got Adams coming on, so hold on. Let's get K6ARK in here. Hopefully he's connecting. Hopefully, I don't know if he sees it. Hopefully I saw it in time. Well,
Come
Adam,
back,
you're welcome.
Adam, if you
Stay,
fell.
stay. Oh, he fell off. Come back, Adam. Got a super chat. I am a licensed amateur radio operator and just got my EMT basic national and state certification. Any advice to be a supportive role with the SAR team?
Absolutely. All SAR teams are always looking for medics. It's an incredible asset to have more medics on the team, because usually when you send out a hasty team, you always want to send out a medic.
Sure.
In every team, you want to have a medic on, just like some elite military teams. You always have your medic. So no, it's huge. So reach out to your local search and rescue team, your local county, and see what they got going on. See if they got a Facebook page. Go down to the station, talk to somebody at the front desk, look at their website, and then get a hold of somebody and find out when they're actually doing their meetings. Go to the meetings right away, attend their meetings, and then you'll get in touch with them personally. And most meetings, not right now, but in the past, our meetings are open to the public.
Mhm.
People can come in if they're interested in joining the team. Right now, all of our meetings are through Zoom, through Google Meet. So it's all virtual stuff right now that we're doing. So then a lot of teams actually put all their hiring on hold this year because of that. But just reach out and start looking in your area and searching. The internet's got all got the answers to all the questions usually.
Right on. Nate Berg's joining us. Nate, I think's trying to get his audio connected. You got to join the internet call. I think, Nate, is what it's going to ask you to do.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. That's what we're having issues with.
Oh, he made it. Make sure you mute your stream there also, Nate. What's your question?
Oh, just curious on if you know of HF handy talkies that can be used in an emergency wilderness situation, or if the Baofangs, the 8-watt Baofangs, do they actually have more range than the 5-watt units?
I'll take the first question. Take the last question first. The 8-watt Baofeng is not much different from the 5-watt Baofeng. You're not gaining that much off of it. Plus, it's nothing more than a better antenna is going to give you. Putting up something a bit better. As far as HF handhelds, I mean, the two that come to mind are the Elecraft KX2, can be operated like a handy talkie, and so can the Shegu X5105. But you don't want to run them as a handy talkie because they're going to have a radial, like wires coming off the back of it, or you're going to have a dipole in the air. So, yes, you can use an HF radio in an emergency situation, but it wouldn't be a handy talkie. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, that was the first thing that came to mind too. Is you can hold the KX2 like this and talk to it, hold it straight up, have the little antenna that plugs into the BNC. But
Mm-hmm.
and even like you get local stuff. If you get on like 6 meters or 10 meters, that signal travels pretty good. 9 times out of 10, though, no one's listening, and your signal's not going to get much.
Yep.
That's why Weblinks protocol is so important, is because there's a certain frequency that people are listening for, and there's a certain time that they're listening for it. So that is key. There's starting at 7 a.m. and every 3 hours after that, 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m., 7 p.m. on the hour for 5 minutes, people monitor that frequency and listen for people calling for help.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why that's important. If you're in a wilderness survival situation, you're going to want to conserve your battery as best as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know how long you're going to be out there. You know how many times you need to call for help. So that's why it's important to coordinate that frequency and time. And also, hopefully you have the ability to reach all your repeaters in the local area, because that's even better. And you can do that at any time. But as far as monitoring like Simplex, that's what we do. It's a coordinated effort to listen for anybody that needs aid. So.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Well, Nate, I hope that answers your question. Anything else?
It sounds like just VHF, UHF handy talkies are the best thing in that situation, correct?
Well, they're line of sight, remember, right? They're line of sight based off of where you are geographically located at the time. If you're at the bottom of a valley, then your signal's not going to get out, right, at all. So you still need to get yourself to a vantage point where you might be able to get your signal out. And the higher you get, you seem to do a little bit better. At least, that's been my experience, and I'm sure Kevin can back that up.
Totally.
HF has its purposes, but it might not be like an immediate, I need help right now medical emergency. If there was some kind of disaster, HF will have value. But, you know, again, if it's a tool in your arsenal, you may end up having to depend on it. But sat phone, like a Garmin InReach, something that can go straight up and beacon for you, that's super helpful. And that costs money, though, so you got to pay for that. And then, obviously, your VHF, UHF radio. Yeah, right on.
I agree.
All right.
Cool. Awesome.
Thanks,
guys.
Nate, for calling in. I appreciate it.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
we've got Dennis, AD6DM.
Dennis.
We got to let him in here.
Oh, brother. Nice. I agree.
And let me just say, I'll let Dennis mention this right up front. Dennis has started a podcast, and it's great. It's nicely done, Dennis. Really respect what you're doing. And there you go. You got your video on too. Right on, man. You've been having really cool interviews. I found all of it really, really interesting. So go ahead, Dennis, take it away.
Yeah, this is a question for Kevin. I know I had a bunch of questions for you before, but you mentioned that you wanted to, or you were not qualified because you didn't have alpine training. So I was just wondering, that takes a couple of years, you said. What does that entail? What is the alpine training that you need to?
So many snowmen. You have to build so many snowmen. It's really quite a process.
Not a Bigfoot or something.
Yeah.
Or something like
Make fire out of snow. So starting off, your first certification is basics, BSAR, basic search and rescue skills. So from there, you have to be rope rescue support, certified that. Then you have to be a rope rescue operator. So that's about another 6 months to a year to get those skills. And then from there, you can get into the basic, the wilderness, I can't think of the word right now. So the mountaineering, getting the mountaineering certification, alpine mountaineering certification. There's a alpine awareness in class session that you have to do. That's one part. And then there's a second part that is outdoor in the mountains in alpine conditions. Working with ropes and on steep terrain, using your ice axe, your crampons, your building snow caves, being able to completely survive in alpine conditions. And when you get up there, it's nasty. I mean, you got the wind chill putting you down well below zero, and you might be somewhere where you have to, you don't want to be a subject. You're out there to help someone, not be part of it. So there's a lot of stuff that the county makes sure that you're golden in the skills that you need to do that. So it takes about, as fast as people can do it, is usually about 2.5 years to get up to that certification. So I'm getting close. But it's on the radar. And then with COVID that hit, our rope rescue operator class that I would have signed up for is canceled. The BSAR class that was set up for all the guys that I was training today was canceled. So now they have to wait till next year to become field deployable. So it just puts, with this, certain things, it just takes time for the county to offer those courses too, so you can get into them.
And is that it? After Alpine, you're fully deployable?
Yeah, so, you're completely deployable in all situations. They can take you in a helicopter from Southern California and put you into Mount Whitney, somewhere up in the Sierras, put you down 10,000 feet somewhere, and you're able to go anywhere with that. And and then from rope rescue operator, you can go up to rope rescue technician, where you become actually not part of the rope rescue team, like per se, like you're not actually doing the physical labor of building anchors and and working the ropes. You're all safety. You're making sure everything is perfect, and your eyes on everything has to be safety. So that's what the technicians do. Make sure everything is diamonds before you start an operation.
Good Game Ham Radio and Outdoors says, after Alpine, you're pretty much a SAR god. Is that how it works?
You're set up, but then there's also, you also have to recert on a lot of those things. Your rope rescue operator, your technician, whatever you are, you have to recert on those every couple of years.
Yeah, is that Sylvester Stallone status when you get to that Alpine? You're Sylvester Stallone from Cliffhanger. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. But that's definitely what I want to get to. It's amazing. And we got some people on the team that are like that, and they go out and I had 3 or 4 teammates just summit Mount Rainier recently, which is snow on that mountain year round up in Washington. And my friend Kelsey she is a ham radio operator from when she was a kid. Her dad got her one, or made her get her license when she was young. Never really did anything with it. And when I got on the team, and I told her about SOTA, it just like, oh my God, no way. So she's going up hitting San G a couple times a year. She's doing SOTA things all over the place. I sent you a picture earlier. I took her and another buddy and did their first SOTA activation. So we put up the SOTA flag, and she's super excited. She went to the top of Mount Shasta. She activated Mount Shasta.
Wow.
With some other teammates.
Wow, that's a tall one.
It's hilarious. I wish I could share the picture right now. I will later. She put on a onesie at the top of Mount Shasta, put on a polka dot onesie, and she had an ice axe in one hand and the bow thing I gave her in the other hand.
That's
and
funny.
She activated Mount Shasta.
Did she activate it simplex or HF? Did she just do it simplex?
Yeah, simplex.
Right on.
Simplex with a 5-watt.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That's cool.
It was rad. It's super excited. So I'm sharing that with the team, and people get excited about that stuff. So.
That's awesome.
All right. Well,
Share
thanks, Josh. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah. Did you have any other
That's all I
questions?
had.
Appreciate it.
No, that's all I had.
Oh, go ahead. Talk about your podcast a little bit. You want to tell people
Oh,
where they can get it?
Well, thanks for that. It's called Hamdom Thoughts Podcast. It's available on all podcast platforms. And you just search for it, or you can go to anchor.fm/8060m. And that's kind of the master page for it. But have several interviews on there so far, and one solo podcast where I talk about digital modes. It's coming together. Trying
Yeah.
to get some other interviews lined up and talk with more hams.
Right on. Very good. Yeah, I really like you doing that. I've been listening to, I think I've listened to all of them now, so keep it up. All right.
All right.
I've got, let's see. I've got SH has been waiting patiently. Thanks, Dennis. Thanks for hopping on. Let's let SH in. I'm always leery of people that are just letters. SH, are you there? You there, SH?
Yeah. Hey, Josh. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, this is Steve. I'm KN6ERU. I was Kevin. I want to say hi because we met briefly on the ham radio crash course hike.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was the only.
Hello, buddy.
Yeah. How you doing, man? Good to see you. I just was curious what you thought of some of the digital mapping systems like OnX, GoHunt's now doing it. Some of those. What do you think of those?
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones now. What I use for SOTA is Gaia, GAIA GPS.
Yeah.
That's actually what our search and rescue team uses. We use Gaia. The county of San Bernardino all uses Gaia. So if we show up to a mutual aid call somewhere, all they have to do is give us a link, and we could pop into all the tracks from the other teams and the other teammates. And at the end of our search or whatever we're doing, we can just send our tracks to an email, and they all populate into the thing. So I really like Gaia. I don't have any experience with OnX, but I heard they have some great stuff going on now too. I remember when they first started, but it just wasn't there. But I think they're coming along great. But Gaia is awesome, and I bought it. I've subscribed to them for a couple of years. It's like $40 a year, not worth it. And I reached out to them, told them I was on the search and rescue team and stuff, and he just sent me a code for a free year, just like that.
Wow, that's cool.
It's like no question asked. So yeah, they're very big in what we're doing. So I mean, if you ask me which one, I would say that.
Yeah. So you download offline stuff and use your phone, using it on your phone?
Yep. So when I have Wi-Fi at home and I know where I'm going, what I'll do is I like to map my track or map my route before I do it. So I'll on my desktop in the nice big screen, I'll make a route. I'll create a route, and you can, once you create your route to this peak or that peak or this trail, whatever you want to do, then you just click on it and you can put a download map along route, and it'll download all those tiles and everything that you can use offline when you're in airplane mode when you're hiking. So you can do all that.
That's what I used too. When we did our hike, I had Gaia downloaded locally for that hike, that trail that we took. Usually any SOTA activation I do, that's exact. Oh, And see ya, Steve. Thanks for hopping on. Yeah, any kind of activation I do or hike I plan, I use Gaia as well. And generally, it's to have the local copy of the map because you want to be in like airplane mode or something, as Kevin already mentioned. So.
One of the things that's really good about Gaia is there's so many layers and different things. Like, what's most important to you? The local streams, the back roads maps, where all the recreation centers are. There's different stuff, so you're not downloading all the information at once. You can just download the things that you need that's important to you, and then and go like that. So
right on. All right, well, man, we got some good questions. Kevin, you were an absolute trooper hopping on after responding to an actual emergency that happened after you were training to support actual emergencies, which I find was really interesting.
That was the nastiest head-on collision I've ever seen, and I'm just happy to was conscious. It was gnarly.
That's super crazy. Well, you've had a long day. I'm sure you want to get inside and get some food and relax a little bit, maybe crack open that beer. So I'm gonna let you go. We're gonna hop over to the Discord after chat, though. If you find time, you want to hop over there, feel free. I'm sure there's more questions that'll come up. I'm gonna go ahead and close out the show. There is anything else you want to say? Obviously, please subscribe to Kevin. The link is in the description. Please help him out on those subs. He does already do amazing videos. You can binge watch all his SOTA activations. But yeah, Kevin, the floor is yours. Go for it.
Cool. Well, thank you for having me. For one, we've been talking about it for a while. This is awesome. So W6RIP Radio Adventures, I'm always trying to do nice videos and nice content and good, and I try to paint a picture and have a nice story. A lot goes into work making those videos, and I'm basically some of the guys saw my camera. I'm shooting everything in 4K now, but trying to just it takes a lot of time to make those videos. You go out and do your hike, and it almost takes longer to make the video than it did to do the hike and do the activation. So a lot goes into that. So I would appreciate if anybody if you like what you see, please subscribe. I completely appreciate that. Comments I get too. If you have any comments about the hike, the radio, the setup, whatever you got, I respond to comments almost within a couple hours, depending if I'm at work or not, at least that night. And I'm an open book. You watch my videos, they're real, I don't hide anything, very candid. I hope you guys appreciate that. So that's what I try to share.
Right on. All right. Well, again, thank you for coming out. I'll let you go so you can get on with the rest of your day instead of sitting in your car.
Get a shower and a beer.
All right, man. Well, hopefully I'll talk to you in a little while.
Okay, Doug.
See ya. All right. Bye. So I'll hop over here. Wow, that was cool. That was very cool. I'm glad that I was able to get Kevin on. We had been talking about it since I think the SOTA camp out to get him on the show, and then we did the SOTA net on the Keller Peak repeater, which was a super lot of fun. That was amazing. I did record that. It's just my side of it, and I'm also pointing a camera at the radio, although I'm sure you know what a radio looks like. Now, I want to mention, since Kevin said that he was potentially not going to be able to make it because obviously he was training, and then I got the text message from him, I think 10, 15, 20 minutes before we went live, with the picture of the accident that he was facing. I was like, oh man, I gotta find something else to talk about. So I started scrambling, and I put together my overhead camera. So I'm gonna wrap up the show here after I do my wrap up, and I'm gonna go to the after chat, and I'm gonna do a bit of an unboxing. And I just wanted to show you what we're gonna be unboxing. We're gonna be unboxing my new emergency, new to me, full 40 channel 2-watt Citizens Band radio system that's called Help! Help! I need help! So that's what we're going to be unboxing in the after chat. That's not ham radio, but I want to check out what's inside. And that one looks like it's a really good quality one. I got it off of eBay for like $7. Shipping brought it to like $20. So I really couldn't say no to that. So anyway. All right, so I'm going to wrap things up here. I super appreciate everybody watching and the support you're giving, not just to me, but also Kevin and the people who hop on the show and have all these fun things to say and really great thoughts on what's going on. But now, we just did the vote for patron picks for next month. So we're going to have a new patron picks video, but I want to say big thank you to the producers on the Patreon side. I did get this all sorted out, so I'll raise my glass to you all. Definitely raise my glass to the brew crew and all the patrons. Thank you for your support. I super appreciate it. I am finishing up this Fruitlands, which is a Modern Rogue beer, or sorry, Modern Times beer. Modern Rogue is a YouTube channel, good YouTube channel. And this is it's a bit sour. So if you don't like sours, you probably won't like these, but CB is still big in the US. It is. It absolutely still is. I say nothing bad about CB. I support CB. Yeah, exactly. Raise a glass to support Kevin as well. Thank you, Kevin, for being on the show and bringing your knowledge. Super, super valuable. I was really super into it. And, you know, I kind of have a fear of heights, but I definitely love getting outdoors. I don't have a problem climbing a summit, but I have a problem climbing. Being on ropes, I'm not a fan. We used to climb in Boy Scouts. Not my thing. I can do cold. I can do cold. I don't like doing hot, but I can do cold without much of a problem. But yeah, the commitment to do search and rescue, as we found out, completely volunteer. That's all money out of his pocket. You got to appreciate the effort that goes into that to continue to train and study and be active, still get outdoors, stay in shape. He's obviously doing SOTA activations, which helps that a little bit. But man, yeah, thank you, Jason. Ham Radio 2.0. I saw you earlier. I also saw Mike. Sorry I didn't jump out to everybody. I know we got Steve in there. We got K6ARK. Sorry we didn't get Adam on the show for the question. Sorry about that. We are going to go over to the after chat, and while I probably can't answer all the questions that would be asked to Kevin, I might be able to answer some, but I can definitely answer some things regarding what SOTA's like, at least out here. It's hot all the time. So, okay, thank you so much again for watching. I am Josh, KI6NAZ. The links for all that stuff are going to be in the description. If you enjoyed this, please consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribe, because I live stream just like I did today every Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, I'll talk to you later.